Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at another modifier, and this one is again related to the space available to accommodate the view. Okay, to accommodate the content of the view. So this one is called MinimumScaleFactor. It takes a factor which is a value between 0 and 1. Okay, it's basically applies whenever you want to make sure that your text actually fits in within the bounds and how much you are willing to shrink it, by what factor you're willing to shrink it in order to display that text on screen. So let's say we start by 1, so we can actually shrink it by 10% of the original font whenever this text is created within 1 line. Okay, so let me increase this to 2 lines. Okay, and we are gonna add a little bit more text to this. All right, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually remove this guy right here. Okay, just to show you the difference. So adding scale, let me also put the font. Okay, so adding scale, minimum scale factor is not gonna have much difference if there's no restriction. I mean, if view can grow as tall as it can, then it's just fine, basically growing. But let's say if the view can grow with the line limit up to 2 lines, right, and you want to display the entire content, okay, then what this minimum scale factor is saying that I'm gonna decrease the font by 20%. The minimum scale that I'm gonna support is gonna be 20%. So whenever the text grows up big, I'm gonna actually make sure that the minimum scale is applied, and we're gonna allow the text to be shrunk to display the whole content. So if I change this to large title, right, according to the principle where you want to display the content and you want to limit the lines, our content should look like this. Okay, and it should truncate anything that's been that's beyond, that cannot be accommodated within 2 lines. But if you apply minimum scale factor, your text is scaled down. All right, and you can see this whole content there. Now what this point 2 is saying is that 20% of the original size for the font can be you can shrink that. Okay, so let's say if I say size here, okay, and say 100. Okay, so 20% of 100 is gonna be 20. So right now the font size is 20. If I say 200, the font size increases. 20% of 200 is 40 points. Yeah, so 40 points is now applied here. So this font is 40%. That means minimum scale is set to 0.2. That means 40 point of font size of 40 is showing right now. Okay, if you take this guy out, this is how your original text looks like, but the system is trying to accommodate as much content as possible within the given bound of scale factor. So that's how you can use your minimum scale factor, by providing a value, a fractional value, that can help your view adjust its font level to display the content as much as possible. Now you don't want this to be to be applied on or to scale it down to really small size, right? What you want to do is you want to make sure that's still readable, okay, and then your users can still see the whole content, right? So that's what minimum scale factor is. Once again, it's actually allowing you to apply a scale factor by specifying how much you will allow your text to shrink. And we are okay allowing our text to shrink by 50%, so up to 10 points. So the example of how the small font is gonna appear is gonna be if we add a little bit more to this. Okay, so 3 lines is gonna be too much. As you can see now, I have minimum scale set to 10%, which is very small. It's gonna be so hard to read this one unless you bring a magnifying glass. But this is 20% or 20 font, 10% is applied, so it's font 2. That's the size of the font, right? So but system is still trying to accommodate to make sure it fits in. Well, this is probably a good for all those legal jargons and stuff like that. But anyways, if there is a use case, there is a use case. But this modifier helps you basically accommodate to make sure your text fits within the bounds that are given, and basically it can shrink down to display the entire as much content as possible. All right, so that is minimum scale factor.